Swaz the lad, you Christian Minecraft players. How the hell are ya? Say, do you remember those good old days when you hated to go to sleep and lose time to play Warframe? Or the mornings when you could not decide between logging on immediately or taking a hasty shit? Well, I know that seems like a distant fantasy, but it was a reality for a long time. Today Warframe players are struggling with loving the game as they used to. For a while now, this meme seems to be insanely accurate. But why? What happened to Warframe? Can we fix it? This video is yet another new series I will begin uploading on this channel. In the simplest terms, this series will be how to fix Warframe. With this series, my intention is to translate our anger and ease ignorance into a concise and fair language. Often, you little shits allow emotions to cloud your judgment and guide your actions. Which is not good. DE, on the other hand, loves to sit around and pretend everything is fine, exactly like that fucking dog from this clip. I will break this series up into segments of different aspects of the game. I will try to get the point across about what our actual problems are with said aspect and then try to convey possible solutions and ideas to improve. I do not wish to shit on DE. I also do not wish to shit on some of the player base. And I also do not want to shit on fellow content creators. But I will most certainly not alter my opinion in favor of your sissy feelings. I will tell all of you how it is without sugarcoating it. And if that makes me come across as an asshole from time to time, then so be it. Being clear and direct about issues such as these is the only way we can make progress efficiently. So put on your big boy pants, grab a drink and some optional popcorn and let me begin. After many years of observing Warframe's progress, speaking with the community directly and to fellow content creators, I think I can narrow all of Warframe's biggest issues down to the following formula. Challenge versus grind versus reward. When the game successfully establishes a balance between these three key mechanics, it is almost guaranteed to be a success. Warframe, however, seems to be the only game that cannot get it right even if their life depended on it. Which it does, to be honest. In today's episode, I will tackle an issue in the category of grind. The goddamn resources. Dear devs, to the best of my knowledge, I think I can pinpoint out main issue with resources being rooted in the fundamental structure of your updates. You see, for years now, you guys have been adding things to the game such as new maps, new game modes, new this and new that. So far so good. But at the same time, y'all somehow think it is necessary to add all new resources to the game as well, which ironically only matter for that one fucking game mode. Example, the Conclave. The shitty attempt at PvP that only rewarded you with stuff you could use in the Conclave. So no reason to bother playing it. I know lawn hunting. Another content island that has nothing to do with the rest of the game. You hunt these things only to become more efficient at hunting those same things. Same concept applies to the splitter hunts from Fortuna. Again, the same structure applies to Railjack. At this point you are forcing us to grind for the privilege to grind more efficiently. Which is a dog shit concept. We players truly hate having our time wasted, having a feeling of not accomplishing anything within a game that demands a lot of time. Over weeks and months and years of tedious grind, we eventually accumulate tens of thousands and even millions of resources. Which I happen to know for a fact is something y'all developers also do not like. So why on earth keep adding more and more shit like this to the table? You are acting like an overly enthusiastic granny who keeps bringing more food to the table while the unfinished meals get cold and begin to rot away. Stop it. Enough is enough. I mean, look at all of these goddamn resources. All of them drop from their own little islands within the game. Many of them only benefit those very islands of content they came from. Where is the interconnection you guys have been speaking about since who the hell even remembers? You say you want to connect things but then you produce more disconnect. You say one thing but do another. And players are picking up on it more and more and becoming more and more upset about this shit. Now do not get me wrong. We, the players, do understand why you are taking this approach. For those players who do not know, here it is. According to DE, not adding new things to farm would essentially grant instant access to all new content for veterans, since those bastards will have a hug amount of resources to begin with, whereas a newer player will struggle to keep up. So DE decides to eliminate the issue by forcing everyone to start farming from scratch. Now, you may or may not agree with this approach, but regardless of how you feel about it, that does make sense. And the intention seems to be a good one. However, just because something makes sense, does not mean that it is the right or the best thing to do. Now for my suggestion on how to potentially fix this issue. And again, I will remind you at this point, I am not saying that my idea is the best fix or only fix to consider. I am only sharing my conclusion after thoroughly hearing out both sides of this shitstorm. So here it is. How about instead of adding all new loot and forcing it down our throats by making them a requirement to access new content, you guys maybe interconnect existing loot. So for example, a sorted loot conversion system. A lot of low-tier loot could be invested to produce high-tier loot. I could make more examples of this than there are nerds under the sun. Kidding. We all know nerds never leave the basement. Jokes aside, one of many examples I could make here is the ability to convert, say, 500,000 plastids into a fully built forma. Or convert credits into ducats at a considerable cost. Or any other conversion you could think of. Not only the option to convert shit into other shit, but also the option to scrap something into parts could massively benefit this game's resource management. Guild Wars 2 is a great example of this. If you loot an item you do not want or need, you can choose to salvage or aka recycle that item into a few lower tier materials, which you always need for other stuff later. With the system similar to this, all materials would retain the same value for all players regardless of their in-game progress. A new player will be happy to drop 5,000 plastids. A veteran would be happy to use those plastids for conversion or recycling. I could go on and on with plenty more examples, but I suspect this was enough to get the idea across. This change, if executed properly, could instantly reduce this feeling of unnecessary, tedious, repetitive grind. Let me repeat. Tedious, repetitive grind. No one is mad at grinding for things. But the amount of repetitive tediousness is ludicrous. And yes, it very much is hurting your game more than anything. I recall quite vividly, during a dev stream a few years ago, DE Rebecca responded to our complaints about grind. Her words were something like this: "You guys say you do not like the grind, but you do it anyway." Well, yeah, and no shit, Sherlock. We also go to the dentist, but that does not mean we like to do so. So with this suggestion, the grind in and of itself will not magically disappear, but, at least, it may give meaning and use to low-tier loot for everyone equally. Furthermore, and more importantly, it would help get rid of the negative, too tedious feel to it. Now to circle back to what that means for the other two major issues I mentioned. Challenge and reward. Even with a resource recycle system as suggested here, you will still have to adjust the start chart to drop stuff appropriately. Example. If me and some players manage to overcome 100 waves of high-level defense, then I do not want to see just 300 nanospores and 10k credits on the fucking reward chart. Higher levels and higher achievements should yield higher quantities of loot, and higher quality loot as well. This stuff ain't exactly rocket science, so I do not understand what the damn problem is. Perhaps you can shed some light on this. Because bottom line is, we all want to love and enjoy your game, but your actions are making it increasingly difficult to do so. Now then, I have made my points. For everyone who took the time to watch and pay attention, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Spread the word to inspire thought, not just for other players but for everyone invested in this game. This was the first of many videos I will produce to spoon-feed shit that should be common sense to everyone who needs it. Time to like and subscribe to this shitty channel. And fuck off.